Hello and welcome back. This second look. I'm gonna review the Gregtech energy power line again. So without further ado, let's go. The first thing is to show you again the cables. But we have two types, the cable and the wire. Just like industrial craft in the past, wire is the uninsulated form of the cables. And if you touch them while they conduct power, you're gonna get shocked. But using wires for power is not wise, because each wire has the double of the loss of a cable. So there is no truly value to use wires above cable, except pranks or make electric fence. The only thing that wires can do is go up to 16, while cables stop at 12. As I said before, each time the energy is outputted from the system, it will lose some amperage, some U of the amperage for each block of cable it travels. So depending on the cable you use, you have more or less loss. On this case, I'm gonna lose 1 U for each block. Here it is 32, 31, 30, 29 machine. But that's not all. We still have another loss, is the output loss. When the system spends a little more energy to output the full amperage of the voltage. On low voltage tier is 2 extra U, so it's gonna use 34 U to output 32 into the cable for each amperage. So if you have a wider cable like this one, you're gonna need to calculate it 4 times. Battery buffers is the place where we store our power. This work very simple, easy to understand. You place the battery outputs energy, and the amount of amperage a battery buffer can output depends on how many batteries it has inside. On this case, since it's empty, it has no amperage. A battery buffer will not work without amperage. So if I place 1, it now have 1 amperage. And even though it is just 1 cable, and I have this machine here using power like this, you see that the cable do not burn. It is simple because since it's only one battery, 1 amperage, 1 cable will not burn. It will only burn if I try to place another battery inside and give this something to charge, like this. Oh, not like this, like this. It would normally burn, but it's not, because it's just requesting 1 amperage. Now it's a good time to talk about the amperage and how these affect the machines. Different from industrial craft 2, where the energy grid line accepts any amount of U injected on it to work. On Gregtech, it's not. All power generators and all battery buffers and all the stuff will always output a full amperage of that tier, no more, no less. When a machine consumes energy, it will leave an empty space on its internal buffer, and only when that internal buffer has enough empty space for 1 packet of amperage to fill it, it's gonna accept. So in the case of using, for example, one macerator that do not use a full packet of amperage and you have a 4 battery buffer here sending power to it, it will not just take 1 amperage and waste all the other 3. It will only request 1 when it have space to actually store that 1. Every generator, no matter which one, only creates 1 amperage, and the buffer amperage is based on how many batteries is inside, so it is easily to calculate how many and how wide your cable need to be. There is no need to use more than the amperage fed to the cable. That would just be pointless. But be aware, do not create things that may increase the amperage without your noticing. This we have a simple example of the battery buffer and machine with a 4 cable. This is to show that, different from the other case where we have a cable less capable of the battery inside, it will not burn. So if I place this battery here, it's running. Let's place some oil on it, it don't happen anything. However, if I place this here and place this here, well, it's not burning. That's because the amount of EU per tick the extractor requires is not high enough to it to request more than 1 amperage. If it was a more heavy machine, it would burn. Also, one thing that you must keep in your mind is the actually triple loss on low in battery buffers, because it's gonna expend energy when the internal buffer of the battery fills the battery, and there will be loss when the battery fills the internal buffer of the machine to be, and also when it's output energy. So in a constant flow of energy, you're gonna lose about 3 times if the feed of energy to the internal buffer of the battery buffer is lesser than the actual consumption. Now, speaking of it, Industrialcraft and Gregtech have different types of energy net. On the past it was just one, but since Gregtech 1.7, the Industrialcraft did not have an stable energy net. Greg decided to make his own. All the Gregtech machinery can power Industrialcraft machinery. So let's just take this sensor here. We place it here, it will connect to the cable, and it's charging power. However, if I take it don't work the other way around, but you can fix this with a simple use of transformers. You can use a Gregtech transformer attached to the energy storage, or the transformer of Gregtech with the transformer of Industrialcraft, to convert the energy from Industrialcraft to Gregtech. You don't need the other way because I just show you that Gregtech will power IC2. As you can see, this is some energy. You attach the battery to the 4 dot side and it will power. As you see, power is drained and power is given. But transformers don't have only this option. Just like Industrialcraft, they also have the option to be stepped and inverted. On this case, it is taking 1 amperage from industrial craft and converting in 4 amperage of a lower voltage of Gregtech. Every power system of industrial craft will always and only require 1 amperage, no matter what. We can use a soft rammer to invert it. Now it is taking up to 4 amperage on each side and create a medium voltage here. So if I range it up to feed this sensor, you're gonna see the power filling very quickly. While here it stopped because it is exactly the amount of energy it is gaining. And if I invert again, it returns to normal and stop charging. But this one will charge. About powering your system, it's a good way to do that using a higher voltage than your machines are actually using. If you have your low voltage tier machines, you should draw a medium voltage cable line to feed the power. Then all you need to do is one transformer at some point to fill a battery buffer. The reason for that is that almost every tier has one thing that we call the best cable for it, that only have one EU loss. And since a higher voltage is 4 times the lower voltage, this way you'll be carrying 4 times the energy with just one loss instead of 4 times the loss. So breaking down higher tiers into lower tiers to power machines is one very good way to do that. It will also keep your system with supply of energy, since each transformer will get 4 times the power unless the system uses it more than that and don't place a second transformer to have 8. You're probably gonna keep your system powered for a long time because it will not constantly run off it. As I said before, you should avoid making loops like this one, because of the Gregtech system has a different way of it. It seems it has some kind of priority. Don't ask me, I really don't know and have no idea how the priority is set. But I discovered that when there is on a power line that it owns machines, the machine most far from the energy source is the one that feeds it. So in this case, even though there is, if I take a machine right here and place it right here, even though there is a cable right here that could feed the machine, what's gonna happen actually is that the energy will travel here, 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 and here to be fed in the machine. So let's place it here, and to make it to see the difference, let's place one in this empty here. As you see, this is this value here of energy, and this one is this. It is a lot more. I forgot that battery do not fill the internal buffer to its maximum, so we still have some left, but you should avoid doing this. The chance of getting that way is high, and this for some reasons can at some times generate a higher amperage on the cable, which you end up with you burning your cable and have fire everywhere. There is some ways to avoid this connection, only simply by placing a cover so it don't connect. Now it's a straight line. Here we have some feature interesting. We have shutters that can either block or allow sights. This can be used for our advantage. Like here I have two battery buffers, one's empty and one I'm gonna place a full cell. No power is gone because it's not the correct way. So let's arrange it right. Now the power from this side is getting transferred to this side. But if I use a screwdriver and change the setting of the shutter to only input allowed, this will stop charging because the shutter is blocking the energy from going that way. Since it's only input, only energy from this point can be inserted. So let's change it, and now it should be powering back, and here we go, powering back. This is useful to create one-way circuits. And how can that be useful? Well, it can somewhat save your skin. You see here we have two machines, two pretty machines. Let's give it some power. Let's say that you've forgotten something, a creeper blow up, and you end up with this. Oh my machines all blow up. If a machine catches fire, it's gonna explode and send in one maximum amperage of the maximum voltage to the cables, and a chain reaction will happen and you're gonna have a bad day. Oh my. But if you have some machines here, and say that I place here one shutter and say little only output, what will happen if this one explodes? Wow, that wasn't supposed to happen. For some unknown reason, it's not exploding anymore when I set on fire, so I need to use more hard stuff. I placed a medium voltage battery into a low voltage battery machine, so it's gonna explode. Go! As you just saw, the explosion of the over machine did not hit this one because the cable blocked it. The cable was destroyed by the explosion. If the machines are more far away, it probably could have avoided that. So if you place shutters saying the energy can only go on that direction, you can avoid machine explosion by voltage, but only down back into the energy line. You cannot do that into the forward one. Now for the ultimate test, let's place one shutter just into the side of the machine and say only to allow output. So any energy that's coming from that machine is not gonna hit the cable. Let's see how much destruction this will cause. And be aware that as you see, the cable did not get melted, and only the part that wasn't the blast radius of the explosion got destroyed. So this truly blocks energy from going back into the system. If you place one of each machine, even if one explodes and any OT is on the blast radius of it, you should protect your system. But remember, this is just to prevent flow back. You cannot prevent an explosion of one battery buffer or generator. That will cause the destruction and chain reaction and the bye-bye of all your base. You have been warned. So this was On God. Thank you for watching.